human being in history and life force to create life, but from the uterus, and then to harbor that information and have that information to grow and to become is part of it. But they do need to be triggered in order to do that too. So not only are they filled with poison, but the endometrial cells are not supposed to be triggered into growing into pods and adhesions, microadhesions, macroadhesions, cysts, all through the pelvic cavity, pelvic wall, on top of the bladder, on top of the colon. They're not supposed to do that. They're not. But they're filled with a poison that pathogens love to feed off of. They're filled with a poison that pathogens love to feed off of. And there are plenty pathogens to be had in the pelvic wall, in the pelvic region, in the pelvic cavity. There's pathogens to be had. With a lot of women have a lot of pathogens in certain areas. And they are in the lymphatic vessels. They are on the outside of the colon, these pathogens. They are on the inside of the colon, these pathogens. They are on the inside of the bladder. They are on the outside of the bladder. These pathogens are available. They're there. They're around. And when any kind of pathogen feeds off of an endometrial cell, it's like a bona fide package. It's like a Christmas present of poisons and toxins, because the uterus needs to eliminate that poison and toxin with everything it has so that a being can be free from it inside the uterus, even though sometimes the beings in the uterus may not be free from it because there's so much poison and toxin inherited or there in general, or are coming in on every level. And so you have these endometrial cells that are not supposed to be growing, and they're supposed to be pushed out and discarded, but they end up becoming also food for pathogens. So that's one thing that occurs, because a pod can only grow, and a microadhesion, a macroadhesion, and a cyst can only grow from a pathogen feeding off of a cell, a certain human cell. Well, the endometrial cell is a food for a pathogen, which will then grow a cyst, a pod, a macroadhesion, a microadhesion. So with women with endometriosis, we have to keep pathogen levels down. We have to keep bacterial and viral pathogens down. Any of these pathogens, any of the viral and bacterial pathogens can feed off of poisons in these endometrial cells that get kicked out of the uterus, pushed out of the uterus. And so this is really important to understand. And so what do we need to do about it? And that's the whole next thing we have to talk about right now, is what do we need to do about it? So what do we do? First of all, we got to deal with foods. Foods are critical. You got to think about foods. And what I recommend with anybody with severe endometriosis is to go 100% plant-based for a little while in their life. It doesn't mean they have to be like that forever if they don't want to, but I would go plant-based for a little bit. It's like if someone says, well, hey, it's like when your doctor says, hey, take this medication for a little bit, and then we'll take you off of it. It doesn't mean that doctor is so pro-medication or whatever. It doesn't mean whatever. It's just what's right for the moment the doctor believes. And in the case of endometriosis, what Spirit believes is you really, really need to be plant-based. And that's something to consider. Stay away from most of the grains is what's important when you're dealing with endometriosis. Stay away from most of the grains. Be grain-free. And even consider the 28-day cleanse in Medical Medium Book 1. And take a look at that and consider the 28-day cleanse. Even if you do that for a little while and see where your menstrual cycles are, see what's going on, and then see what your doctor's reports are as every few months when you're getting ultrasounds or getting a CAT scan, or however your doctor deals with taking a look and seeing what's going on with your endometriosis. So foods, no dairy products. It feeds the very pathogens. Any pathogen can take advantage of an endometrial cell that's filled with loaded with toxins. So you have to take foods, because foods literally will feed any pathogen to begin with, and you want to get rid of all pathogens and any possibility of pathogens. You want to get away dairy. You want to get away from dairy. That's milk, cheese, butter. You want to get away from eggs, 100% away from eggs. You want to even keep the meats out, like I said before. No meats, no chicken, no turkey. You want to go back to that down the road. You could probably go back to that down the road, but you want to really, really go plant-based and see how you feel and see where you are in the moment. But foods are critical. No corn, no pork, no corn, no canola. Canola tends to aggravate the heck out of endometriosis, meaning like it makes it prosper and grow. So be really cautious with that. That's important. No soy with endometriosis. That's another thing too. So canola, soy, got to be careful there. Okay, and making sure there's you want to stay away from processed foods for sure, but you got to be careful overall with whatever you're doing with foods, no gluten, and just try to be grain-free for a while. I would be working on a lot of sweet potatoes for dinner every single night. I would be doing the heavy metal detox smoothie in the morning. I'd be doing the celery juice in the morning, heavy metal detox smoothie in the morning. I'd be doing lots of snacks like apples and celery, dates, apples, celery all through the day. Lunchtime, I'd have an avocado and a salad of spinach. That's what I would do there. Salad of spinach, tomatoes, cucumbers, avocados. At night for dinner, I would be doing sweet potatoes in a salad. A whole bunch of sweet potatoes and a salad. And not a lot of dressing on a salad. You could probably get away with maybe you squeeze lemon, squeeze limes on the salad, maybe a teaspoon of olive oil on the salad. You can throw a few hemp seeds in the salad. That can work too. Maybe a little of avocado. You don't want your fats too high, but this would be a perfect diet. You could also do winter squash at the end of the day too, but sweet potato is really important. I would lean on the sweet potatoes and try to live off of those practically. So instead of doing chicken or turkey at night for dinner, I would lean on those sweet potatoes. It would be so the morning, celery juice. Then it would be heavy metal detox smoothie. Okay, look into that to figure it out, to know which one, how that works. From there, I would go to more snacks from lunchtime, avocado and a salad. That would be perfectly fine. Spinach, different lettuces, tomatoes, and cucumbers. In the afternoon, dates, celery sticks, apples. At nighttime, dinner time, lots of sweet potatoes and a salad again. I would stay plant-based while you have endometriosis. That's one diet that I would do with endometriosis, and you're going to start seeing results. The other thing is lots and lots of lemon balm, high dosages. I would do like 2-3 cups of lemon balm tea a day. I would mix equal parts, like I would do cups of tea where I'd have 2 lemon balm bags of tea, 2 bags in 1 cup, 2 bags of nettle leaf, with that in one. It would be like literally 4 bags of tea. Basically, here's what you need to do. Make a big jug of tea and put a lot of nettle leaf and a lot of lemon balm in it and drink that periodically through the day. You can even switch that off with raspberry leaf like on another day and just do straight raspberry leaf on that day. This is what really gets the endometrial cells to also clean a house. See, here's the thing. When you have these endometrial cells and they're filled with poisons and toxins and they've been kicked out of the uterus for a very good reason and they're sitting on the outside anywhere in the pelvic cavity and all around the bladder or anywhere it is that they're finding their way, you want to clean those up too. You want to clean the poisons out of those endometrial cells. When you clean the poisons out of there, pathogens won't even care. They won't even feed off of those poisons to create a cyst or create a tumor or create anything going on inside the pelvic wall or anywhere on the bladder or the colon. Okay, so other supplements. Getting your zinc reserves is good. Find the right zinc on the directory if you need to. That's important. If you look at the heavy metal detox smoothie, you'll see it's got the spirulina, the barley grass. Look at the right ones to get on my directory on Medical Medium. Black cohosh can be an herb you can play with. You can talk to your practitioner and doctor about black cohosh. It could be helpful sometimes, depending on if you're on medications or not. You can talk to your doctor, practitioner, and vitamin C. I would consider vitamin C2 and B12. So those are the supplements I would bring in, and those are the teas I would bring in. And I would do lots of parsley, lots of cilantro in your salads if you can. Consider that. You can juice parsley with celery if you really had to, or juice it with cucumber and celery. Throw an apple in there in between it all. These are the things I would do. I'd focus on the foods. I'd focus on that kind of diet. I would focus on these kinds of supplements. And then what's going to happen is the heavy metal detox smoothie is going to start removing heavy metals from the outside of the uterus too, and from the inside of the uterus, and from everywhere else. It's also going to removing other poisons and toxins that are in these endometrial cells so that they don't become food and fodder for pathogens that are in everyone. Pathogens that are in everyone, in everybody's liver and going into the reproductive system. And I'm talking about all the HHVs to Epstein-Barr to all the streps and different groups of strep to all the other groups of bacteria that could be harboring and that are naturally in people. And you have to understand that these pathogens love to feed off of food that's poison and toxin. When you start clearing this up and cleaning this up, your uterus won't be kicking out as many endometrial cells to begin with. They won't even grow when they're on the outside. They won't be triggered by viruses. and your immune system will get stronger and things will be in the right place. I love you guys. That's the direction we got to go. Take one day at a time.
I'm Jan Van Zandt, and I encourage you to tap the power within. Thanks for listening to HayHouseRadio.com, radio for your soul.
Here's Carolyn Mace with a HayHouseRadio.com inspirational moment taken from a recent live lecture in Seattle.
Your job is to begin the walk. And if you walk with that constant, where am I going? Where am I going? When is it going to end? You are walking inappropriately. Those are the very questions you do not ask. Those are the very questions that if I were your spiritual director, I would say you go back to the beginning. Now go back to the beginning. Do it again. Go back to the beginning. Do it again. Go back to the beginning and do it again. Go back. I would send you back again and again until you stop asking the wrong questions and you walk, because the labyrinth itself is the answer to the questions you're asking. The journey is the answer to your question. You are on the answer to your question. You're on it.
To find out more about Carolyn Mace and her work, visit